Hello and welcome back to the Professional Lovers channel. I'm Al.
I'm Patty, and we are
The
Professional
Professional
Lovers,
Lovers.
coming at you with another recap of another Married at First Sight episode. And for those of you who are our regulars, hey, glad to have you back. And continue to like and leave comments in the feedback section
Please.
of our page. For those of you who are new, we enjoy facilitating relationships through the lens of Married at First Sight, talking about the issues that the couples are facing as they build their new relationships, which is something that we all go through if you're building a relationship.
Maybe not at the altar starting off, but...
Yeah, it's not fast tracked like the 8-week process they have to go through, but it's still the same kind of issues. And so we're talking about that through our own experience and sometimes bringing in our book, Becoming a Professional Lover. So let's get started.
Let's do that.
All right, Gina and Clint. Well, first of all, I always like to set up the whole episode. So the couples are nearing the end of their, or have neared the end of their honeymoon when it first gets started. And so they're kind of showing you where every couple is. The couples have a last supper, so to speak, on the last night of their honeymoon. And then they move in together and start daily living.
Not to be cliche, but the honeymoon is over.
The honeymoon is over. So Gina and Clint, last week they after Clint's little tit for tat blew up in his face, Gina was like, "We don't need to be together for the rest of the honeymoon."
Yeah.
So Clint called his boys, Chris and Airris, had a little male powwow, explaining his side of things and how he did not intend to offend Gina, but once again, he was talking about how she was calling him gingery and all that. So it was kind of a tit for tat. Exactly. We already talked about that.
But I did appreciate how the guys, knowing how Clint is, very, very direct and very pointed and
blunt.
Right.
Yes.
They kind of diplomatically went into the fact that you just need to be a little bit more conscious of who your audience is when you're speaking and being as blunt as you are and how it could be offensive to them. Not just by hearing what you say because you have to say it. Well,
Airris pointed out that you also have to think about how it's going to be interpreted.
Exactly. How you're received.
Yeah, so it's not just what you say, but how you say it and how it's going to be interpreted by the person to whom you're saying it.
Critical.
That is critical. We often talk about being other-centered, and you have to be other-centered in your delivery of your words as well. So, at the couple's dinner, he got up to make a big
it was recommended that he stand when he made his explanation.
And I thought it was going to be an apology to the group.
I think everybody thought it was going to be an apology.
But it didn't turn out that way.
No, it was just an explanation of what I was saying and what I meant by it.
Right.
I still don't care about
and that he did not mean it to be offensive to the other women. But it wasn't an apology.
No, it wasn't.
But he did apologize to Gina.
Yeah.
And so she kind of had his back at the table, but I love Nicole. Nicole was like, if Gina is willing to give you grace, give you a pass, and we will back her up.
Hey, that's my New York girl. I appreciate that because that's really how it is.
So I love that. And Gina did admit to being a runner. So if you are a runner, the first thing you're going to do at, any kind of conflict that you don't like
is what she did.
Exactly.
We're done.
Is what she did.
Yeah.
So she admitted to that. And that's going to be something that she has to overcome if she's actually committed to this process. Because you can't run at the first hint of conflict.
True. But in that instance where she ran, he was very juvenile in his getting louder as she was walking away and talking about how mature that was. I'm like, okay, you got your issues too. But they reconciled.
Yes.
Which is the objective.
And the main question of that couple's evening was, how would you rate at this moment your marriage? Everything, discussions, conflicts, whatever, how would you rate your marriage? Gina gave it a 5, and Clint gave it a 5.5. So they were in the same vicinities. Yeah. Don and McKinley had a lot going on in this episode. Discovering how McKinley is very, is not extremely adventurous.
He's introverted. I mean, he said that from minute one.
She expressed surprise that he would do a Married at First Sight process.
Yeah.
Because that is just completely runs counter to what she experienced on the honeymoon, with him expressing that he didn't really want to do, he didn't really want to go horseback riding, or he didn't really want to do kayaking, but he did it for her. And he has expressed often that he likes her pushing him out of his comfort zone. Yeah. He kind of needs that. But she sees it as a project. Now, this is my opinion. She made several statements. First, she doesn't want him to do things because she wants him to do things. Right. She wants him to do things because he wants to.
Yeah. For the experience sake.
Yeah. And she says she kind of just feels like a coach.
Yeah.
And, you know, he in turn said that that really wasn't his intent. But he constantly feels criticized by her. That if it's not her way, then it's no way. Yeah. You know, and he feels like he's been giving her the benefit of the doubt when she has not been returning the same for him. She's not giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Well, and we do have not conflicting ideas about this situation.
But a different perspective.
Yeah, because I believe that she's looking for more interaction from him. I mean, being an introvert, okay, yeah, you're not adventurous and so on and so forth. But you're there as a couple getting to know one another. And I think that, you know, when they had their little thing about his joking and, you know, she wasn't very appreciative of that, for the simple fact that she's trying to get information. She's trying to relate, so to speak, in a manner of giving details, I guess, about each other's history, background, who we are, what we're about, so on and so forth. You know, he's giving his personality, you know, and he's joking around. And in his joking, you know, it's being facetious because he hasn't done a whole lot. So what she's grabbing is the fact that you're not being forthright with me, and I'm not getting anything out of that. And that's my opinion. That's my observation of it. So she feels as if in her coaching, she's pouring into him, you know, her personality and her character and her willingness to do, and his not willing to do is like, well, okay, I gotta, you know, kind of coax you into doing it, because the first thing you tell me is that it's not really what you would normally do, but you'll do it for me.
But see, I part of my issue is that couples do that.
Well, I can understand acquiescing, or, well, you know,
or even like, you know, just that you like to golf.
Yeah.
I don't particularly like to golf. We've talked about this before.
Ain't no particulars. You don't golf.
But if he wants to go hit some buckets and wants us to be together, then I'll go and sit and watch him hit some buckets. Yeah. Is that my preferred thing to do? No. But because I want to spend time with him, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
So her feeling like everything that they do, he needs to be gung-ho into it, is, to me, that's a little unrealistic.
Well, I don't think it was gung-ho, and she explained it, because he starts off by saying what he doesn't do, as opposed to doing it and then saying afterwards, hey, it was different. It wouldn't be something that I would normally do, but hey, we did it and we enjoyed it, whatever the case may be. But he starts off by saying or referencing that I don't do this.
Well, again, I think that you need to allow space for a person to be who they are while, as you bring them along. And so I understand his saying that he feels critiqued all the time.
Yeah. Well.
Because she does do that. Now, he rated their marriage at a 7.5. And I think she agreed.
Yeah.
That, that's kind of where she feels like they are. Nicole and Chris, they seem to be the ones who are on the best page.
Totally.
And interesting, Chris rated their marriage at an 8.2, and she was like, wait, what?
I said the exact same thing.
And I'm not, for real, I'm not copying him. I was going to say an 8.2. So.
It's nothing like being on the same page.
It feels great.
It does.
When you're on the same page. He had a little situation where he was emotionally distraught and boo-hooing.
Being separated from his children.
I thought a family member had died.
Well, it was almost like it. He was being severed from his family.
Well, he thought that he would have to be separated from his 2 dogs.
Mm-hmm. His family.
And he was very distraught over that.
Quite.
And she was comforting. She was sympathetic. Because she also has a dog.
She was everything.
And, reassured him, hey, it's going to work out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how. Don't know all the options. But it's gonna.
But again, that's even as distraught as anybody can get. Unless you're one of them people that I don't want to hear nothing from nobody. You do want to hear comforting words from whoever's in your close proximity. And silence, sometimes has its benefits, but again, you're in a unique situation where time is concentrated, everything is escalated, and it's extreme. And he was feeling the way he was feeling, but she came to him immediately, and gave him support.
Yeah.
And that, as far as I'm concerned, well, even he said it in bed, that will go a long way.
Well, it showed him
that
that she has his back.
Yeah, all of it.
And, and he can trust that she will have his back.
Mm-hmm.
Just staying with the marriage rating. So Kirsten and Shaq, both rated their marriage at a 7.
In front of everybody else.
Yes. And Jasmine and Airris, he rated their marriage at a 7, and she rated it at a 7.5 to 8.
Actually, it was Jasmine and Airris that said it in public.
Yeah. And it's been messing with Airris's head that Jasmine's being a 7.58 is higher than his, which to him signifies that she's feeling a connection to him more than he's feeling a connection to her.
Which is what he said when he was with the guys, talking about she was like a 12 and his was like a 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Although, if we reflect back on the first day of, marriage and all
that's not...
He was off the charts.
Yeah, that's... So I feel like Airris particularly is having a difficult time. When a person has approached relationships with a player perspective and with player behavior and that's completely different than approaching a marriage.
and I'm almost going to go out on a limb and kind of give me as short a definition as you possibly can of cognitive dissonance.
Cognitive dissonance is when you want to support something that conflicts with a principle or some other opinion that you actually have.
Okay, I almost think that there's something in him.
There's a dissonance between
because he's a player. Mm-hmm. He would have tried to knock her back out the first day that they were together, but now this is his wife, and now men in many cases, you know, we have a tendency to think about being off the chain with somebody that we don't care a whole lot about, mm-hmm. but we want our wife to be something totally different, mm-hmm. you know. And I think he had an initial urge to be the player that he is, mm-hmm. but then got caught in the thought of, well, this is my wife and I need to do it differently. And he's not accustomed to that. And I think he doesn't really know how to deal with it. And
he's feeling guilty that he's not where she is on the level that she is as far as the connection goes. But then this is part of her angst and red flag about him never having been in love. Yeah. If you're a player, you're not in love. And you just getting what you can get because it feels good and someone's giving it up.
Yeah, you playing.
And so she's feeling like he's not really ready to be a husband. And I think Chris said something like that as well. He's not sure that Airris is ready to be a husband. Yeah. And, you know, so he's feeling guilty, but he feels like, you know, time will help. Time can help his connection to grow.
But, well, and it will take that, but they're moving on different terrain. Yeah. You know, and his time may not necessarily be the same type of time that she is willing to give.
Well, she's going to have to be very patient and give him a lot of grace. And then she discovered when they all left to go back home and they moved in with each other and went to each other's homes. Okay. And since we're on Jasmine and Airris, you know, she was like, I have discovered that my husband is bossy.
Yeah.
The top drawer is mine. Don't touch it. I need this side of the closet. These 3 drawers right here are mine. And do you wear shoes in the house? Because I don't.
And
okay.
You need to tell your people.
I'm like, okay. Clearly, he doesn't know what it means to live with somebody else.
And I wonder if the way he was rattling it off and the way it was being viewed, you know, and again, on camera, you can make it look any kind of way you want. I was just hoping that somewhere in there was like a joke or, you know, that whole, because he was rattling them off quick.
It was not a joke.
Yeah.
And once she saw his house and his shoe collection and his fitness room, and she discovered, you know, this is not just a surface thing. This is for real.
This is him. This is who he is.
This is who he is.
He's meticulous about certain things.
Yeah.
And he's meticulous about his body.
Particular.
You know, working out and, you know, having his shoes encased. Not just in boxes, but they are encased, visible, clear cases, you know. I'm like, okay.
So this is going to be interesting, you know. And again, she was cool about it, though. She was like, hey, okay. Yeah, I know. I understand why he needs that side of the closet after I saw all his shoes. And that's fine. You know, so she was cool. She didn't get defensive with the bossiness. But that's going to be interesting.
That's going to be a test.
Yeah. Kirsten and Shaq had a discussion about, you know, how they live, and he was messy on the honeymoon, but he says, I'm a neat freak in my house.
Color coordinated suits.
And how's your closet? She was like, it's messy. I'm just going to let you know. asked about laundry. How do you do laundry? Do you?
That was funny.
And thank goodness they both do laundry kind of the same way,
Yeah.
But that's the kind of stuff you have to get to.
Yeah.
Chris and Nicole, they didn't get to each other's house yet, I don't think.
No.
But they showed Dom and McKinley. Well, they showed Dom going to where McKinley is staying. He's staying with the parents of a friend.
Yeah.
In their basement. And he has a, 2-room.
He has space.
He has a little sitting room, and then he has his bedroom. But none of the furniture and stuff is not. No, it's not his.
Right, nothing in there is
nothing
his.
is his.
Pictures on the
his family
dresser.
pictures are his.
Were they
on the wall? Yeah, those are his family pictures, I believe.
His family pictures or her family pictures?
Okay.
And when I say her, you're talking about his friend, because this is a female friend that.
I thought they were his. Y'all can correct us.
Yeah. Put that in the chat, please. Yes,
yeah.
give us
So,
some comments.
But that made her feel like that she expected more, and I think part of her problem is that she has a certain level of expectation for where he should be, even though he is in transition, where he should be based on what she's looking for. And she made a comment that rubbed me the wrong way, and that was that the experts put them together for her to help him. That everything that he wanted to improve on or to grow in, she embodies. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute.
She said it.
Wait a minute. I mean, again, she's looking at him like a job. Like, my responsibility is to make him the person he wants to be. And that's, I have a problem with her looking at the relationship like that now.
And I certain words can rub anybody wrong.
As though she doesn't have some growing to do.
No, and
that he would help impact as well. And see, you think that he has nothing to offer.
No,
I don't agree.
It's not that I don't think he has anything to offer. What is it that you go? What are you going on?
Well, and that's what, I would be going on why the experts put us together.
Okay.
Realize that the transition is a transition.
And I totally understand.
And he said, I did not jump into a house. I did not jump into, getting my own place, because I want to make sure that, now this I understood, that, this is where I want to settle. And that kind of gave her some angst. Because if you're not sure you want to settle in Nashville, and I'm not leaving Nashville, then, and she did ask her the question, as in, you didn't want to jump into getting a house, but you jumped into marriage. There was nothing he could say about that.
And see, now, and I can relate, because when we met, I had a room in a house, but
did I hold that against you?
No. But okay. What makes me think about is, was he running away from something? And it's only because of my history, my experience, and I was just trying to get my life together. I didn't like where I was at, and I wanted something totally different, and I needed something totally different, and basically had lost everything that I had. So, I'm wondering if it's not a similar situation with him, just vacating where he was at, a new environment, new surroundings, and I can start afresh. So, and that too can have a little, question mark in a person's mind, well, you didn't even bring anything with you, other than the clothes on his back, basically,
But again, and I don't want to keep beating this dead horse, but you didn't really have anything with you.
I know.
With where you were living.
I know.
But I didn't use that to determine whether or not you were worth my time or worth trying to build a friendship or relationship with.
But we had more than a week to get it all together.
And again, and I understand that. But that's why even in this particular process, you have to open yourself up even more because this is on a fast track.
True.
This is on a fast track.
But that's why I'm saying your brain can be all over the place.
And you have to trust, unless you're seeing character flaws, let me clarify.
True.
You have to trust why the experts put that there must be something there that the experts saw that they matched me with him.
I got you. I mean, no, it is. That's very logical. It makes sense. Totally.
So that's where we are right now. Of course, according to trailers we see, it's looking bleaker and bleaker for most of the couples. But then we know that trailers kind of like to try to throw you off by how they put them together. So we'll wait to see next week where couples really end up. We forgot to do this last week, but not this week. So who's the couple of the week for you?
Oh, the couple of the week is Nicole and
Absolutely. They're still at the top.
Yeah.
Because of their ability to talk through things.
Their communication style
is great. Even though she knows that she can talk too much, and she knows that, she it says what's on her mind. But he doesn't back down either.
No, he said he's
so I like that. Yeah. So yes, they are the couple of the week for both of us. Red flag couple this week.
The other 4.
And I find that funny because I kind of feel the same way.
And I mean, nobody.
There are red flags on all of the other ones.
Yeah, there's. I mean, not to say that there's no hope, but it's not like anybody is like even reaching for the straw that would just get us over the hump. Everybody's just kind of going with the flow, not putting a whole lot of extra emotion or feeling into it, letting it be what it is. And what it is right now is what it is.
But if you watch the after party, I'm going to have to say that the top red flag couple for me this week is Jasmine and Airris. Airris primarily because Airris slept with somebody 2 weeks. The day before he found out he was married. And it turns out to be somebody that Jasmine knows.
Yeah.
And so if you, and she said, if I'm preparing myself to be a wife, he's still playing. So for me, and just seeing how he came across with everything else, Airris is my red flag spouse of that particular couple.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah. And it goes along with, her concern about whether or not he can transition.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So with that, that's the end of our recap. I'm not holding out a whole lot of hope, but we'll see what happens. So join us next week when we come back with another recap. And until then, you know what we tell you. We want you to love yourselves.
And each other.
Bye.
Peace.